picking the right telescope is a bit like buying a new car. There's not one that will be the best fit for everyone. It depends on your situation and what you want to use it for. So in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 concrete recommendations for telescopes for less than $1,000 that you can use, and you can then choose one that fits your exact needs. We're gonna start this list with an Omegon Dobson Push Plus. This is a 8-inch Dobsonian. These you get huge amount of aperture, large amount of light can be collected. They are just great scopes for the money, really good value. The one in particular here is a Dobsonian for $980 US. It's 1,000 millimeters in focal length, so you get nice, decent zoom, kind of a mid-range zoom, I would say, on this, meaning that it will frame some deep sky objects decently, and you can also probably do a little bit of planet stuff with it. It has a nice low f-stop of 4.9, so you can collect quite a bit of light. Now, it is a push-to telescope. What that means is, well, in contrast to go-to. Push-to means that the telescope won't automatically go and track an object. But what it means is that you can connect to the telescope with a phone, and you can then actually mount the phone on the side of the telescope, and you can then search your phone, say I want to look at this object. Your phone then knows where your telescope is pointing, but you manually have to turn the telescope to point it at the target. But the phone will give you live information about where you're pointing and which way you need to turn the telescope in order to look at the object you want to. So this is great if you're not too familiar with where all the nebulas and galaxies are located and you want a bit of help to get your telescope aligned up with those objects. One of the big downsides of a Dobsonian is that they're big, and that means they are not easy to transport. So I would recommend a telescope like this if you want it as a garden scope. So something that you take out, you look at in the back garden. But if you're planning, if you live in a city, for instance, and you want to go out of the city to go to darker skies when you want to look at the night sky, then I probably wouldn't recommend this, as it's going to be quite bulky and not too easy to transport. The next on the list is the Bresser Messier Exos 2 Go-To. This is a 90 millimeter refractor telescope, so where the Dobsonian used mirrors, this one uses lenses to get its magnification. It comes in at 945 US, has a focal length of 500 millimeters and an f-stop of 5.5. Again, we get lower focal length, you get a wider field of view. 1,000 can sometimes, it should be fine for most deep sky objects, but sometimes it can be a little on the narrow side. With a 500 millimeter, you get a nice wide field of view. This would be a decent deep sky object telescope. I would especially say this would be probably good for stuff like nebulas. What you get with this is you get a go-to mount. This means from where before we had a push-to where we manually have to push it around, now we have a motorized mount where you can just, after you've done the alignment, you just type into the little hand computer, say I want to look at this object, you click go to, and it automatically slews to the object, points the telescope at it, and tracks it. So if you want to do photography, then this is definitely a very, very good option. Now the reason I've chosen this is because of its potential upgrade path. The mount is standard dovetail. That means you can put any optical tube on this. If you ever want a different scope, take the telescope off, buy a new one, and plug that straight on there. The mount is rated for up to 13 kilograms of payload for observations and 10 kilograms for astrophotography. The optical tube that it comes with here is 1.9 kilograms. That means you have so much headroom for this mount where you can begin to mount bigger telescopes in the future. You can begin to mount cameras, guide scope, filter wheels, all that stuff. You have so much headroom here with this mount. So the upgrade path here is extremely good. In fact, if you go and look up the price of the mount itself, the mount without an optical tube is 870 US, where the combined with the optical tube with the telescope was 945. So you can see you're spending a very big portion of your budget on a mount. You might think, is that really a good idea to spend that much on a mount and not on the actual telescope that you're going to be looking through? And if you're serious about the hobby, yes, it is. This is actually often recommended that when you buy your first telescope, spend 80 to 90% on the mount, because when you get a good mount, you can just get new optical tubes and just replace those, and you only have to buy the optical tubes of the telescopes to put on the mount once you have a really good mount. The next one is the Celestron NextStar 127 SLT. This is another go-to scope that comes in at 870 US. This is a Microsoft Cassegrain, and this means it uses a slightly different optical setup than the two other telescopes. But the thing with these, what's called folded optics, is because the light actually travels twice through the optical tube, means even though it's a short and stubby telescope, you actually get a 1500 millimeter focal length. And that means you get a lot of zoom with this. The downside, of course, is that you only get a f-stop of 11.8. That means it is a lot less light sensitive, a lot less light hits the sensors. This means that it's maybe not the best choice for deep sky objects because they're so dim, but where this large magnification and the relatively low light gathering, or low f or high f-stop, so low light, where that really comes in and shines is when you're looking at stuff like the moon or planets. So if you want to take pictures of Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, or do pictures of the moon surface, then this is a really good choice. Again, it's a go-to telescope, so you have the full tracking, computerized, does everything for you. One of the downsides, of course, is because it is fixed in the arms, you can't really replace the optical tube. That means if you want a different telescope in the future, for maybe you want to go deep sky objects at some point, you gotta get a new tracker, you gotta get a new optical, so you're basically starting from scratch then. So upgrade path here is not as good as with some of the others. Next we have the Skywatcher PDS Explorer BD. It comes in at 822, and the pack that I am showing here comes with a EQ3-2 mount. This is a 750 millimeter f5 telescope, so again, we're not quite as far as wide as we were with the 500 millimeter we looked at, but we're not as narrow in as with the Dobsonian at 1000. We're kind of a happy medium in between. Tracker here has, well, nothing. It is just a physical mechanical thing. There is no push to, there is no go to, there is just handles that you move with your hands that then turns the telescope. So that means everything is done completely and 100% manual. The reason why I chose this one in particular and added it to the list is because the optical tube, the telescope itself, is great, especially for astrophotography. We have this dual speed focuser, as you can see on the side, where you have the big outer focusing wheel and the smaller inner focusing wheel, whether you want to do large or you want to make fine adjustments to your focus so you can get that focus spot on with a scope like this. But one of the main reasons that I included this is because there exists an upgrade kit for this mount. And that's actually something that you might want to investigate if you want to save a bit of money early on, is maybe just try to get a cheap mount and then do an upgrade for it later, where you can, if you can get the upgrade kit separately, so that you can take that, basically plug that in and upgrading it to a go-to mount later. Again, trying to spread out the expenses so you can do a progressive upgrade over the years if you get more and more into the hobby. Now this last one here might be a little bit controversial because it's not a telescope at all. This is the Skywatcher Star Adventure 2i Wi-Fi. It costs 512 US, and it's a star tracker. It's a mount for your DSLR. This was just to try and present a different entry point into astrophotography. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and buy a big expensive telescope. What you can do if you want to get into the hobby is to do more wide field stuff, do Milky Way photography, do cityscapes. There's so many creative shots you can do that doesn't require a telescope, but just requires a normal DSLR. So if you already have a camera, a digital camera lying around, and you want to breathe a new life into it, buying a star tracker like this could be a really good option that allows you to take long exposures of the night sky without getting star trails. Another added benefit of this kind of setup is it's easy to move around. You don't carry these huge, massive optical tubes with you, so it's easier to haul. I have a setup for wide field stuff myself that I'm going to show it to you in a future video, so get subscribed if you haven't already, and I promise I'll show you my wide field setup, which I think you'll quite like. Finally, I have a few questions for you. First, if you haven't bought your first telescope yet, which one of this list do you think would suit your needs the best? If you already have a telescope, you're already doing astrophotography, what was your first telescope and what would you recommend for people getting into the hobby today? Post it in the comment section below, and I am really looking forward to reading your replies. One of the downsides with this type of mount is that they often come with the scope and that it is not usually replaceable. So simply just point this straight up like so. Then get a tablet with a pure white image and simply just